sacrifice myself and my like mental health for jobs. Like, I was not even that well paid. Like, they're not paying me millions, to stick it out for a couple of years. If I end up not being able to work afterwards because I don't know, I need to go to psychologist and take medication because I'm like broken now,
Wow, okay, this is going to be a full-on therapy session. Hello and welcome to the Webflail podcast. I'm Jack, your failure connoisseur, and today I am joined by the incredibly talented Maria Karavá, a dynamic, multidisciplinary Webflow developer based out in Greece. Maria's love for animation, WebGL, immersive website experiences shines through in her work. And she's also a mentor at Flux Academy, helping aspiring Webflow designers and developers step up their skills. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people listening have already met Maria, but because everyone's gone through Flux Academy, haven't they? But if you haven't, go check out her portfolio of incredible work. That's ALKOREIEL.com. Alcoriel. It's packed with interactive gems and showcases her love for animation and complex visuals. And I first saw her work on Twitter. She's a big personality in the Flux Academy. She's a big personality everywhere. She's an amazing human, and I'm excited to dig into her knowledge. But today's episode isn't just about all the amazing things about Maria. It's also about the stumbles and roadblocks that she's had to overcome to shape her journey and get her to where she is today. So the failures that we'll talk about in this episode are working on her sister's website / e-commerce site. Oof, God, I feel that one already. Working for about half a year for a company as a UI UX designer, which wasn't quite the right fit, and applying for a job at Flux Academy when she was way too green. Oosha! I'm excited about this episode. There's going to be so many gems. Maria, welcome to the Webflail podcast.
Hi. Great to be here.
I am psyched to have you here all the way from Greece. You are my first Greek guest, which is pretty great.
Let's go.
Let's go. Representing Greece. Hey, not many of you, but I feel like your presence is like, it's just this bundle of energy and joy and smiles, which is representative of 10 of 10 Webflowers. So I'm psyched to have you here. But before we dive into how incredible you are, tell me what your relationship is with failure.
I don't care about failure. I don't think it's a thing.
It's not a thing. Well, that's a wrap, guys. That's the end of the episode.
I think it's a weird thing that my brain does not register it. It's just like you try something, you're good at it, you like it, you don't like it, and you move on. Like obviously I fail daily. Like I will be half of the time I'm ashamed of what I tell people. So those are like the more common fails that be like cannot like express myself or whatever properly, but what it's like. If you know me, it's fine. I'm just being like brain not working. And
I feel like though you've got such a cool outlook. It's important though to say this, that like when I initially asked you for failures, you were like, I actually really struggled to do this because I literally don't think about like things in the past that haven't gone quite right. It's kind of just like, oh, that happened, and you move on. Like you're not necessarily gonna like mentally record every single thing that you mess up as much as be like, oh, I messed up, on to the next thing. And I think I said this time and time again, I think it's a trait of successful Webflowers. It's not that they have never had failures and that's why they're successful. It's that they have had more failures than anyone, but they don't look at them as crushing, soul-sucking defeats. They're more just like, okay, that messed up, learn from it, get stronger, go again. So I think it's totally fair.
Yeah, they're like learning steps and making you who you are, right? Like I started a couple of things. I did not work on them. Why? Maybe because I got bored. Maybe I was not good enough. Why should I think it's a failure? Like, it got me where I am today. Like, all my mistakes or my failures or my successes made me who I am. And I might regret things I did not do or did not try. But you know what? Still, I cannot change that. So it is what it is.
It is what
So,
it is. I like that
and
you're like, you don't regret what you did. Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, I was thinking yesterday when I was trying to think like of a failure. I was like, if it's something that I can change, well, I did not succeed the first time, so I can try again. If it's not, like, I cannot change the world. Like, if I don't know, it's a little bit of a deterministic kind of way of looking at things. Did I do my best? If not, do I want to try more? If I don't, like, then what? Like, and I'm
Fair
surprisingly hard
enough.
on
I love
myself
that.
when I do things. So it's like, but while I'm hard and tend to be a perfectionist, and not achieving that, I don't think it's a failure. It's being kind of like, okay, chill, woman. You can do it. You don't have to be perfect, kind of thing. So, and unless you try to make
Beautiful.
meringues, you don't know what failure is.
Okay. Hey. Okay. I've never made earrings, so that's fair. Okay,
I
wait.
used to,
I think
and I
we just
started
need a
failing
double
at
click on
them.
this. Okay. Okay, wait. Backtrack. If anyone is listening to this and it's like, I'm a Webflow freelancer and I'm finding freelancing really hard and I'm not getting jobs and I'm not very confident in what I'm doing and I don't really know how much to charge and I don't really know how to get clients and I'm not very good at Webflow yet, just keep going. If you're like, you know what, I feel like failing, I'm such a failure, I'm going to give up. Okay, if you're like, I hate what I'm doing and I actually just want to stop doing this, fair enough. Then stop. That's fine. But if you're like, I'm going to fail at this, so I'm not even going to bother, or I'm never going to be good enough, so what's the point in trying? That is problematic. And I do think that it's worth just listening to this episode, the start of this episode, every morning if you need to. Like, I think Maria's right. Life is hard. You try stuff, you fail, you go again, or you say, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm going to redirect my attention away. But don't just stop because you feel like you're not good enough and never will be. That's quite a easy escape from actually just pushing a little bit harder to get to the other side of failure and learn from those mistakes to push on.
For me, freelancing started, honestly, I was very comfortable and I was, you know what, I will go all in. Because again, here, if you want to make money, you need to charge people, you need to start a company. Otherwise, you kind of like illegal. So I was like, you know what? I have to force myself out of my way. Like, I need to pay like things for it's not an agency, but still, like the work. I need to be able to make some money. And it took me a while, but it was the I needed the pressure of I need to like this is it. And I was like, you know what? I will give it a year. If I cannot make it or I cannot pay my bills, we'll see. If I can, good.
Yeah.
you know. And it's freelancing. I
Yeah.
realized at some point that I'm not going good at finding clients. Marketing myself, it's not a thing for me. So I started working with other people. I decided, you know what, I will show people that I can help, what I can do, and then they will come to me. So I don't have to reach out to people, which I hate. And I think the whole point is
This is an
like,
important point.
try it, adjust. Is it something that is so against yourself that you don't want to do it? Well, figure out a way around it. It will take longer, probably, but can you afford to do that? Do it. Not get a job on the side, work at nights. I will never do that because I'm lazy. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I spend the time before, to try to get to a point where I'm confident and I don't oversell things because I want to be honest to people. I don't know how to do this. I will get back to you. So that I think it's also where that's why I don't feel the failure, because I give myself the option to give it a try and adjust what I'm doing. Then I did not fail, I'm trying to strategies in a way. Why not?
Okay, let's talk about your career then, because let's look at this. So we've got you've in your LinkedIn, you've got 3D generalist, photography, video editing, graphic designer, pre-press, designer, screen printer, UI, UX, QA tester for Webflow. Then you've got designer slash illustrator, Webflow developer, and web motionographer. And then your Flux Academy. What point? At what point do you say, you know what, this isn't working, I'm going to change, versus being like, you know what, I'm going to stick with this and I'm going to make this work because I'm not good at this right now, or it's not quite working, but I maybe I just need to stick at it. Because someone listening might be like, wait, do I want to stick with this? Do I not? Say they're a freelance Webflower and they're like, what point do I need to just take a full-time job because this is not working?
Personally, I get bored. So I will circle around things. That's why they're still kind of there. Like right now, I might do this thing. Like now I'm getting into GSUP because the time came for my brain to be like, yeah, let's go GSUP. Great that afterwards I learned that Webflow acquired GreenSock. So timing perfect. But for me, it's like you weigh it. If it's a lot of kind of like angst and you really have to try to keep it up, why not look for something that comes more naturally, comes easier, takes a little bit of the stress out? Because if you're stressed all the time, well, why this would be your perfect thing? Like you want to enjoy what you're doing. You want to be like, I have a couple of friends, we will spend nights troubleshooting each other's builds. We'll try things, and that's fun because it's exciting. We're like almost workaholics, which we're not. At least I'm not. But because it's exciting, I like being there. That's why I left UI UX. I was very very bored. I learned what I needed to learn. I
Fair
can apply
enough.
a lot of things, but I got very bored. Why should I pursue that? Like, make my life miserable? Why? Since I can, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess there's a few different things that you said there. It sounds like you're kind of chasing that flow state, and maybe even when you find a problem or something that you're not necessarily very good at, but you enjoy doing, you're naturally going to get better at it because you want to stick at it because you enjoy it, right? Like it's kind of obvious to say, but I think that's important. But then the other thing that you mentioned there is that you have the freedom of choice to be able to swap and change, and I think that's important to say because there's some people that might be listening to this who are like students, and maybe they're like, I've got this job in an agency, and to be honest, I don't really enjoy it, but I can't just like quit and try something else new straight away. So I think there's a balance, isn't there? It's like working out the right time to pursue your passions and find that flow state. Is that right?
True. Also, I forgot to tell you that, but a long time ago, I was in an agency, an advertising agency. I think I lasted like 8 months, and I decided I could not do that anymore. I was overworked, I was overstressed, and I ended up having to drink at night to chill because I was so stressed. And it's a point, and that's not me. Like, but I will have to down like 4 gin and lemonades or something at night to just get into a state where I'm like, okay. So I was like, I don't want to become an alcoholic for a job. Like my stress levels are not there. So I was like, you know what? I prefer not to have a job. I need to take like a step back and be like, bye. This is not for me. Was it the agency? Was it the type of work? I don't know. But you have to decide, is your mental health better? Like, where do you stand? Like, honestly, I would prefer to work in the supermarket, stocking things and like it's easier for me. I don't have to think. The stress is not there. Like if I have to be doing something that I don't like, at least it should be a little bit like, okay, 8 hours, I'm done. I can go home and relax and watch TV, Not thinking, oh my God, I have to design something tomorrow. And that's me, obviously, because it was not something I was enjoying. But I think, and again, I don't see that as a failure. It was a recognition on my side that this is not good for me. Why stick it out? Why, I forgot the word now. Why sacrifice myself and my like mental health for jobs? Like I was not even that well paid. Like they're not paying me millions, to stick it out for a couple of years. So it's like,
Yeah. How much does stress cost?
yeah, like if I end up not being able to work afterwards because I don't know, I need to go to psychologist and take medication because I'm like broken now, you know? I'm probably broken, but that's a different thing. But it won't be because of work.
Okay. Wow. Okay, this is going to be a full-on therapy session, but no,
Yes, let's
that's
go.
really, really insightful. Like, and maybe you do need to work in a supermarket to, work part time, get the money, and then focus on upskilling in the thing that you really want to do. But there's no right or wrong way to do it. And I think also it's worth saying that there's plenty of different ways of being a freelancer. You might want to freelance for agencies, which gives you continuous contracts. Maybe there's one retainer project that you do, and you're basically like essentially part of a big company's team managing their website, uploading stuff, building landing pages, whatever. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do that for one client, but then you want to get your own clients that maybe give you more enjoyment but less stability. All sorts of different ways of doing it. Maybe you try freelancing and you're like, actually, I just want to do the creative work. I don't want to talk to clients. I'm not a people person. I just want to get the work and do the work. I don't want to, put myself out there, as it were. Then maybe working in house for an agency would actually suit you better. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just important to say that off the cuff. Maria, are you ready to get into your failures?
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, tell me about failure number one, working on your sister's e-com website.
It's
Ooh,
my
mama.
it's my never-ending story because it was the first ever project I started doing in Webflow. I learned the hard way. I went ecom all the way. But somehow, I will blame my sister for this. She never gave me the content, so we never launched. And I keep redesigning and that's the reason I don't want to design anymore. Because I'm overthinking it. Like, what people will like? What should I do? Please, people. It doesn't work for me. So now I'm iteration number 4 of the website. I'm afraid that we'll end up to a point where Webflow discontinues income and I will be still there trying to figure it out.
You'll just be there. You'll be like,
I know.
no, Vlad, Alan, Linda, don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But now I'm like, I think I got her to the point where my sister is in a maternity leave right now. So I was like, because she keeps paying for it also. Like, woman, I cannot be like, you should be the client and be like, hey, we need the website to be out, not me pressuring you. But it's like, I want to
Mm.
so be done with it so it's out because hopefully I want to help her, she does amazing work. But I feel it's a failure on my side, not like getting it to a point to be like, let's go, you have a week, do that. And I guess that's why I think it's my failure. A fail.
I mean, should you ever work with family?
She's nice, she's fine.
She's good. Okay, so
No,
it's not her.
that's
It's just
that's the
the
good thing. I
project.
work well with my sister. Unfortunately, she doesn't give enough feedback. I need her to be a little bit more of a client, but she has a good
Mm.
eye. She will be like, this is like wrong. I will use her. on other projects, like something is off here, help me. She will be like that thing. It's like, oh, you know. So it is a good like situation. I wouldn't do it for everyone, but she's the one.
She's a good person. Okay, fine. So
Yeah,
it's not the fact that she's your sister that's difficult,
yeah.
but I guess it is kind of like, it's when it's so close, it's kind of hard to treat them like a client when they know you too well. Like they've literally gone on holiday with you and listened to one headphone in the car as you drive down through France,
Yeah.
when you're like 10 years old. That's hard to be like, look, listen, we're going to have a call at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm going to send you the link to book the call. I need you to have prepared the assets. Like they're like, yeah, shut the fuck up. I'll call you when I call you. And you're like, God damn it. So it is difficult. But what I would say though is that, e-commerce with Webflow is that's another whole question as well. I mean, now you've got Shopify, you've got other things that link. I think Nexus created like a Udesly. I can't remember what it's called, but there's various different options out there to have a Webflow front end, Shopify back end. Why are you using Webflow e-commerce specifically?
She doesn't want to. She's like so sold on keeping it every. Again, important is that she is making her own jewelry, so she doesn't have a ton of product. She wants things to be like content, like everything in one place, not overcomplicated. She's using Etsy still, so her needs are not enough, I guess, for something bigger like Shopify. She was like, no, I want Webflow. She kind of like, I sold her too well on Webflow. But I have another friend.
Yeah,
She also
I
has
mean,
her shop in Webflow. It's fine from one person businesses, small one, custom things. Like it's perfect. It's like you can have the customization you want and don't overthink it. Like that's why I wish Webflow would actually like continue, like make small adjustments and give us the e-commerce we want. Not for big websites, but for smaller, like the price is good, it's not too expensive, it's easy for them. I got into Shopify. It's a chaos. Like it has so many things to think of and find. Like people find Webflow easier. So why not?
yeah, I think Webflow e-commerce is good if you have very few things. I've used Webflow e-commerce for like a video hosting so you have like a payment wall, and then there's a video course that you can go through using Webflow e-commerce, and that actually worked really well. But yeah, obviously we're all aware that Webflow e-commerce is limiting in comparison to Shopify. If you're going to do a massive e-commerce store, I would highly recommend not going down the
Yeah.
Webflow route. But I mean, if there was someone asking you though, Maria, okay, my brother wants a website. Should I work with him or not? Like generally, at what point are you saying to friends and family, like, guys, like I struggle to, like you wouldn't work with anyone else other than your sister, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I can be very honest with my sister, and she can be honest with me. So that's important, like I want her to do well. So basically I forced her to get a website, I'm like pushing her because she's really good and she lacks like again, we're missing it as a family, I think. The marketing side of things, we become good, but we cannot like promote ourselves. So I'm trying to get her there because I really think she can succeed. So it comes from a place of
Yeah.
like wanting to help each other. I'm not making money. Like it's my passion project. It's her website.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. But I guess if you're someone that's starting out in the Webflow space, maybe the easiest way to get clients is starting with friends and family. But you'll quickly realize how difficult it is
Yes.
to create a yeah, to kind of treat them as a client. And I think it's kind of an artificial client experience because you understand, like, okay, I need to ask them their assets way earlier in the process because they clearly don't get how important the assets are. Or, copy. Oh, God damn it. Who's going to do the copy? They think I'm going to do the copy. No way, you're going to do the copy. Then you get in, you kind of all these problems that you might not have been fully aware of in the client process come to light when you work with friends and family. But trying to kind of treating them as a client as much as possible is still kind of hard, I find.
I think it starts from, oh, I'll give you a better price because you're a friend, family, I'm new. And then I think it starts to get sour very easily. Like the roles need to be very clear in the expectations, and it's not that easy. So either your relationship won't survive, or you never finish, or you do the job, but you will be like, I hate this. I really, really hate this. So it's a weird choice. I guess I think it might be easier if you like, I'm gonna do it for free. You have almost no feedback because at least there's no like real client relationship. It's more like I'm doing you a favor. Shut up and take it.
Yeah, I mean, I like so. For example, I'm about to do a website for my younger brother and his friend, and I've decided to. I hope he doesn't listen to this episode. Shout out, Bill, if you're listening. I'm deciding to actually send them a contract and send them an invoice with what I would normally charge, and then a massive like reduced rate, right? But I do want them to pay something. So the reason for this is because I want them to know that my time is not to be messed with. If we agree to have a meeting, I don't want you to cancel 1 minute before the meeting. I want to treat them as much like clients as possible. And I know that my little brother is probably rolling his eyes if he is listening to this, but I think it's just important to be like, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this work for you. Yes, it's going to be massively reduced, but I want you to pay something so you have some skin in the game. I want you to know how much I would normally charge and how much of a favor I am doing you. So you better turn up to the fucking meetings, Bill. Sorry, I was talking to you as if you were Bill there, Maria. But
It's fine. It's
I
fine.
do think that's kind of important. Yeah,
No,
that's my
I think it's
take.
a thing you have to literally think about. So before my sister's website, I tried to do a UI thing with another friend. She's amazing. I know her. We worked amazingly well. I was like, I want to practice. I was like, I told her, I don't want you to pay me. I want to practice. It was cities is Italian and Spanish, so it was a very small like website. I would not develop it, but I needed like a little bit of exercise. She actually paid me. I did not ask her for it, but she was like, I can afford this. I was like, I was doing it for fun. I learned a lot. Our communication was great because she was giving me anything I wanted. There was a graphic designer that did illustrations and stuff. So I got to play also with Loris. That was a long time ago. So I animated also a couple of things. I was talking with the developer, which they had no idea how to use Loris in WordPress. Which I was like, I could build that like in a day or something. And I did build it as an exercise on my old account. But again, it came from a point that someone I knew that I could do it. And it was, I give it a try. I'm not this, I'm not telling you I'm doing this. I'm going to try. Let me know what you think. She was like, I love it. I knew her style very well. And again, it was a small thing, it was a simple thing. So it was, I kind of knew that it would be fine. But I don't think I would easily do that for more people. And especially not now. No. I
Okay.
think yeah, but I did more things with friends that I remember. I have more things with friends, but I think I keep choosing them in a way that they trust me enough. They're like, I don't want to know. Like, show me. I will tell you if I think something is wrong. Do your thing.
I guess it's trust, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
trust and respect is the basis of healthy relationships generally. But yeah, I think, making sure that you set your clear boundaries, you don't get walked all over, and especially
Yeah.
the worst thing would be feeling resentful at friends and family for, what you think is a massive favor, but maybe they don't really fully understand all the work that you're putting in to make this reality. So, it's just about communication, making sure that there's trust and respect there, whether you get paid or not, whether there's a
Yeah.
contract or not, whether there's a clear invoice or not.
I feel it also comes from a point that I reached out to them, not them to me for a discounted thing, you know? They were like, hey, we're friends. Can you do my website for like half the price? Like, you already start off in the wrong foot. But if you're offering, or if they come to you, no, you do the work as you like, charge me what you will charge me. Tell me how much would, can we work together? I- Like, if the other part is also equally like in the same, like, I'm paying you for your work. Like, I don't want you to give me a discount because we're friends. Like, I want to work with you because I like your style. Like, it becomes a little bit, has better chances of working out, I guess. I think.
Yeah, I love this advice. Important takes on, starting out as a freelancer. Maybe you are working with friends and family, but just be aware of the potential problems that you face and need to navigate, just like you need to navigate any problems in life. Tell me about failure number 2. Working for about a year and a half, sorry, for half a year for a company as a UI UX designer.
So it was one of the situations. They reached out to me. They found me. They asked me how much I would charge. Honestly, I was surprisingly smart because I said, okay, because I was supposed to do in how like in agency things at their website, but also design for clients. But I was not very well paid. It would be like the the price was ridiculous. But and that's the I think I was very smart. I don't know how that happened. But I was like, if you're doing a client's website, I want one third of the price. Because one third is the UI UX, one third is the marketer person getting the job, and one third is a developer. Which was not bad because we did one project, but I got paid at least well for that one. But it was miscommunication on all levels. I did not enjoy the work I was doing. I was trying to pleasure them, like, and that fit me. I felt very constrained on what I was going to do. Like, it was a lot of things. And also, it was in a foreign language, which was not very helpful for content, you know? So that taught me that, first of all, I don't want to do UI UX anymore. I kind of knew it. There was a reason why I left graphic design. And also realized I would have been faster to develop that than just designing it. Like, I'm better developer. I'm more of a problem solver. Like, you give me the design, I will figure out a way to make it work well. And I think design, I need to please you. I need to convince you why this is a better option, you know? And I was like, and in the end, they fired me, but it was like, yeah, thank you, because I did not know how to start the conversation that I don't want to be here anymore. So again,
Okay,
I don't see it as a
interesting way
failure,
that
you
that
know?
ended. But I guess, like, if one of you was unhappy, then likely it is the other one was unhappy, right? Like, it's interesting that you both felt this wasn't quite the right fit, and it
Yeah.
took one of you to say something for that relationship to end. But sounds healthy that it did.
No, I was so relieved. I was so insanely relieved that I was like, oh my God, thank you. It was like a breakup that you want, but you don't know how to approach it kind of thing. Yes, I'm out. Because again, it's the same thing. It was very stressful for me. I was not enjoying it, you know, but I was trying to stick it out because, well, someone was expecting that from me. And yeah,
But you got it done. you got the job done. It You learn loads from it, and you realize, you know what? Maybe I don't want this to be my career path, because then you changed career path after that, didn't you?
Kind of, yeah. I think I moved more to development after that because again, I don't want to like I will do if anyone asks me, I will do design, but it will be if I want to, if the project is interesting, if you know, but I'm not offering it as a service. My service is developer only. And QA now, like but support. Like
Yeah.
those were the things I realized I was good at pretty early on. Like I know I'm a problem solver, so figuring out like I'll go into the forums or Webflow, try to solve people things for people, you know. And I realized like I knew more things that I thought that were common knowledge people did not know, because before I got into Webflow, I did the whole HTML, CSS coding thing. So I came already a little bit better structured in Webflow than just jumping in. So it helped me a lot to help support people, to have given feedback, like probably properly structure things. I'm a very strict person on that. I would always be like, stop adding animations. You should do the structure properly so it works. You don't cannot go jump to the end. Like I'm a little bit too ordered in some things.
But I guess like
But
that's what makes you a really good mentor, right?
yeah, I think so. Because apparently people respond to my way of being very like methodical and not and explaining why. Like I like whys. I like again in design what the part I did not like and I expect from people, I don't care if you don't like it. You have to tell me why. You need to kind of why it's there or why you design something, right? Like why it's there, what's its purpose, why not something else. If you have a why, even if I don't like it, I'm okay with it. But in development, things are a little bit more black and white. Yes, you can do things in different ways, but there's probably a better structure, more correct way of doing things. And I like to get that down to like, if I have the time, obviously, to get it down to the like, the least amount of code, the least amount of everything. Let's make things work. Let's make more things change in the same time. It's almost like a math game, a puzzle. And that's exciting to me because every time it's a problem you're solving, you know? So, design, bye bye.
Design bye bye. Okay, great. So I think this is worth pointing out that there's a lot of different things that you naturally try as someone that's creative online. And I'm sure a lot of people listening can resonate with this. You know, Rive is now absolutely everywhere on my Twitter feed. People had the same reaction to Lottie's when they became all the rage. Spline, there's GSAP now acquired, and everyone's doing a lot more GSAP websites. Osmo's just been released with Dennis Snellenberg and Ilya Van Eck, and there's all this hype around that service where you can do animations for award-winning websites like these guys. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much out there. There's this kind of learning overload, and there's a lot of pressure I think people feel to just be on top of everything. It's like being on top of world news. You're like, oh my god, there's something happening in Pakistan, and there's a flood in Thailand, and it's just like, god, it's so overwhelming sometimes. But I think what you've done really well, Maria, is you've tried out a lot of stuff, and then you've been like, no, I'm going to go in on development. I don't want to touch design unless I really, really love it. I'm going to focus, focus, focus. And that has probably really helped you land the job at Flux, because you're like, I'm not going to do everything for everyone. I'm going to focus in on what I offer and who I offer it to. And I think that's like a really healthy, natural progression for webflowers to think about as they go through their journey.
I think in general in life, like learn the basics well, learn the important things. You can always it's good to have like a high level like knowledge of things that things exist, but you don't need to know them. Like, you don't need to jump into them before you're like, this up. If your website is not properly structured, will likely fail, won't work as expected, things will not be where they're supposed to be because things are not in the HTML and CSS like properly done. Also, you skip a part which is accessibility and what happens when people have JavaScript disabled. So you kind of need to create things from the bottom up. You cannot have a beautiful house if it doesn't have a foundation. Things need to be like sturdy and good, and then you can always add stuff. Like, you can learn, you can adjust. Like, for me, when I see people, I kind of admire people that they jump into like the end, because I cannot do it. I need to know like every smallest thing and why things work the way they work. But then you have broken websites. Like, make it work. Come on, be nice, be thoughtful, be, there's so many majority of websites are not amazing creative things. They're marketing websites that you want the most amount of people to be able to use them. So, accessibility, think about it. You don't have to be an expert. It's a very hard area, but you need to be able to understand that your heading structure, or what elements are named, or the area labels, they need to kind of make sense. Test it with your keyboard, like, there's so basic things that people just like, I don't care. Like, this is your bread and like this is your bread and butter. It's like the most common thing you might need. And then
Okay,
it will
good.
make you become
What are the
better.
most common things? What are the most common things that you find that people that are first coming to Webflow, maybe in Flux Academy, what are the bread and butter things that a lot of people just don't even consider?
Classes. Proper, like, people don't understand, and this is a lack of, I think for me it was Code Academy. It got me to a point where I wanted to have my CSS as small as possible. So I would think you need kind of, okay, I need to backtrack a little bit. I feel that designing in Webflow, it's not a proper way of doing things, because you don't have the whole view of the website. Obviously, if it's just a landing page, you can do it. But if you have like 10, 20 pages, you need the Figma file, the sketch file, whatever it is, to see the common things, what you can reuse, minimize all the things that need changing. I got to a point that I don't really edit things for smaller breakpoints because of the way I build. I need to adjust like maybe the direction of the flex. I don't want to do a lot of work. I don't want to be editing things per breakpoint, because then it's a lot of work for no reason. So people lack this very basic part of like, reuse classes. Think when you need to reuse, add a combo or create a new one. Like, and obviously everyone has their own style. I don't think there's like one perfect way of doing this. Also because it has to do with our brains and how they work. But structuring this well, everything else, you can build a new page in no time. You like, everything just falls into place, like, it's, I find it fascinating. I find it nice. It's like, again, it's a puzzle. Like, let's make this work with the least amount of changes as possible. And then you apply
Okay,
anything on
amazing.
top of it. Like,
Okay,
I think the basics.
basics. Start with the basics, guys. Class naming. I love this advice about looking at a Figma file and then being like, okay, this section is like, it's just swapped around from left to right. So, that can be the same class naming structure with one class that swaps it or whatever it is. I think it's really important to think about from the get go. I was definitely shit at building for ages. I still am not the best Webflower. I'm definitely not going to profess that I am. I'm no Webflow expert. I'm not a Webflow partner, yada,
I'm
yada.
not either. Whoever
But
says that, like, it's fine. I'm afraid of people
but I
that they
would
say
say
they're
though,
experts.
yeah,
We all learn all the
interesting. I've heard a
time.
few agency owners say the same thing where they hire experts and little squeaky bum time when they hire them. But I would say though that you learn that using systems and processes, using a class naming system like Client First, Lumos, Mast, whatever, whatever system you use, stick to the system, and it will mean that you naturally will minimize the amount of class naming, extra class naming that you would do if you just built a Webflow website from scratch without having ever built one before. So basically, try and be a little bit more organized. Try and think like Timothy Ricks. I do this thing when I'm building stuff. I'm like, what would Timothy Ricks do? Just what would he do? If you're stuck on a section, how would Timothy Ricks approach this like a surgeon? And I find that oftentimes he's actually got a tutorial showing you exactly how he would do the thing as a surgeon. About failure number 3, applying for a job at Flux Academy when you were way too green.
I think it was me realizing that I'm good at support. Honestly, if I got the job, I would still be good at it because I was already kind of there. Obviously, I was not the best. I was lacking a lot of experience or anything. But the funny part was, I am now a mentor in Flux Academy, and I did not apply for that job. It was offered to me because I was helping the community. So I was doing it because it was fun. You're trying to help people. Obviously, it's not a big difference when you do it for fun and where you paid for it. Not all the questions are fun. You cannot skip them. But support is a thing, creative support. What you need to find out why a thing doesn't work. It's not like, hey, what turn off your computer, whatever. It's a different type of support. But I think it
But
was a
why were
good
you
thing
too
because I
green
got
though?
better. I was very green, and I think I would have failed the process of the interview if I got there. Well, when I got offered the job, I was kind of like, you know what? If I don't get the job, someone else is better than me, but I'm good. I was so confident in my abilities at the point that I was like, chances are I got this. I don't know who else is in, obviously, like I'm competing against, but it's not about me. It's like maybe they're better. Maybe they have more knowledge on something I don't. Maybe the way I respond to things, they don't like it. But it's out of my control. So in the end, I was kind of like very chill about it. Well, when I chill, I was not super chill. It was very stressful, but I was more confident in my abilities than I would have been back then. And obviously, I had more experience. I had but I thought, and again, that's why I don't think it's a fail because me applying, whoops, lost an earbud. Me applying, it was a step out of myself because I would be like, I'm not good enough to apply. But I was like, and it was said there, like, try. Even if you don't think you can cover it, like, give it a try, apply. And for me, that was like a huge, like, out of step out of my comfort zone. I knew I was not ready, but I was like, let's give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? Not getting the job. What's the best? I might get the job, like
Agreed. I mean, like, okay, one, I think it's mental that you didn't think you were qualified to do this job because I would say you are way overqualified, actually, Maria. You've done pretty much every part of creating a website. You're more
yeah.
passionate about accessibility than I imagine a
Well,
lot of people are. And I think,
well, when I
a
applied,
lot
it
of
was a
people
long
need
time
to be
ago.
more passionate about it.
Yeah. No, no.
Hey,
When I applied, it
you're
was like a
you're a
year
killer
in.
mentor.
Yeah. Now, when I
Okay.
applied, it was a year in. So obviously, a lot of things changed. Like I got the job in like a year, 2.5 or something in Webflow for me. So it was kind of early. I would have done great. Like, and that's why they saw me helping the community from back then. Like I remember Ran before I even met him, he thanked me for helping in the community. You know, which it was a good thing. But for me, the bigger thing was I actually jumped, like tried to apply for a job. I don't do that. I applied for very few jobs in my life. Obviously, you get disappointed if you don't get it. But my teaching moment was it's not me. Either I'm not good enough for a job, someone else is better. Like, why am I thinking taking it so personally if I don't get the job? It was a
Also, I would say, like,
hard
even if
moment.
you're early on in a career, let's just be clear though. Sometimes, okay, I had this amazing history teacher at school. He knew everything about every day of any historical event in the history of time. But some people thought he was the worst teacher ever because he was so knowledgeable that actually he wasn't the best teacher. And I think vice versa with mentors, you know, like if you're a little bit ahead of someone, you can be like, oh yeah, I tried that website, but it didn't work. Actually, I found this one and it's way better. Someone that's got light years of experience, might not actually know the most recent like resources and techniques that are out there, especially in web design. Like I wouldn't want to, work with Larry Page as a mentor when it comes to building a Webflow website. Like that wouldn't actually be, that might be so overwhelming that I'd be like, man, I don't think this is for me, but best of luck with running Google. Because it's just like, I don't know, it just wouldn't be the best thing for me right now, right? And I think vice versa, your skill sets at that time may have been stronger in communication than other mentors, but you know, and and you didn't have necessarily as much experience, but you're the right person for the job at the time. So those are my 2 cents there.
We have this saying in Greek, which is like every time is for the best kind of thing. Like things happen on their own time and when they should happen. And I think it's an actual like good thing because why like let's say I want to get a job at Google and I'm really like
Mm.
focused on that. Am I growing by just applying? Wouldn't I grow more if I kind of like found something else and learn more things? Because I think part of it what part of what makes me a little bit having like a bigger view of things, it's because I learned a lot of different things in my life. I'm a course hoarder. I have so many courses I will never finish. But because I like learning, I learned how to learn. I learned how to connect things and in my brain. So I can take something that's very relevant, like pattern drafting for clothing, and tell you how you can use it for accessibility. I had it with a friend because you use lines, for example, there, and you separate the color and the shape. And this applies to accessibility, which is wild on the web, you know? There's so two totally disconnected things. So in clothing, actually not even that. Pattern drafting and websites, but still, you can use things you learn somewhere else. So while I admire people that they're very focused and they have like this one thing that they want to learn, I think getting exposed to more things that they're so irrelevant and they are not, first of all, because you can change directions because you can now. You found something more interesting. They give you a way of thinking out of the box potentially that will help you to get to where you want. I don't really have that. I don't have long term goals like that because I found out that in my life I keep changing my mind. So I just go with the flow. I like where it takes me and adjust. I'm more like a survivor than like an organizer or something. But I learned to understand that this is me and other things don't work. I'm not an early riser. I'm not going to force myself ever. I will be the one protecting you at night, you know? So I feel that that is where the whole I'm going back to the beginning, right? How do you decide what to leave, where to continue trying to do things? I think it's realizing what fits you and trying not to fit in a different thing. If you're very creative, maybe it's not the greatest thing to be in a non-creative area. If numbers work for you, like, and you like them, why not work with numbers? Kind of like find your path, find your whatever feels right.
I'm going to start crying, Maria. Are you ready for the final question that is the most difficult question you will be asked this
We'll see. I
recording?
don't know. I'll wing it.
What is
Let's
your
go.
next failure going to be?
Probably this afternoon if I go to the ceramics course. One thing that I think this it's kind of telling of how I think of failure. It's I was rock climbing and I kept trying something stupid and I kept falling and I kept laughing. Like the harder I fell, the harder I laughed. And one of the instructors looked at me and it's like, I have a girl like you, like a kid. And she will be like, she won't get angry. She won't get like annoyed. She'll be like laughing and be like, I cannot do it and like do something else. And I was like, I see it, it's not a reflection of me not doing this. Like when I know I can do something, I will be more concentrated. I will be focused. I will retry it a lot of times. But if it's something new, like, come on, fail. That's the whole part. So a couple of weeks ago when I started ceramic courses, oh my God, the first day, the fails I had, I wouldn't stop talking and laughing because I was so bad at it. Because if you're not taking yourself serious in that part, you can try more things afterwards, You're not like, oh, I need to be perfect. Dude, it's the first time trying this. You cannot be perfect. Chill. And what the worst thing that can happen is like, well, I will have ugly things that I made. It's fine. I have dogs,
Hey, you're going to have something. Yeah. But,
Yes.
okay, this is a
I
really good
got better
metaphor for
though.
life, though.
I got
Yeah,
better though.
exactly. Okay, Webflow is
And
like being a
faster. Yeah.
potter,
It's the same.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make a load of vases to make one good vase. But
Yeah.
just make, and you'll get
Yeah.
good. That's definitely not a phrase. Maria, thank you for coming on the Webflow podcast and sharing as vulnerably as you have.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm so sad we did not get to spend any more time in like London. Come on. The one time we were in the
I
same
know. We'll have to
space.
wait until Conf next year. I know. Weird, right? I think it was just like, there's loads of people that I just was like, damn it, I didn't have a really good old chin wag with, XYZ, and I need to, you know what I need to do is organize another meetup, because one a year is not enough, is it?
Come to
That's
the
what I should
south. I
do.
keep telling people, don't make us poor people to come to the north where it's expensive.
You know what? If you organize a Greek retreat, I would be totally down.
I've been
So
trying to
yeah,
sell
Maria, we're all going
Webflow.
to come to your house.
I don't have enough space.
You heard it
But
here first,
that would be
guys.
fun.
You heard it here first. We're all going to Maria's house. Starts Monday. No, I'm joking. We actually should do. Greg Faulkner. I'm going to put you in touch with Greg Faulkner. He wants to do something called Flow Mads, where essentially people will go from the Webflow community to retreats. And I was thinking one of the best places to go would be Greek island or something amazing like that.
Oh,
I'll put you
forget the
guys in touch.
islands.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Greg,
Too
you
many
heard it here.
tourists.
He might not want me to talk about this publicly on the podcast, but I have. Maria, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming on the Webflow pod.
Let's go.
And that's a wrap, people. What an episode. Thanks so much to Maria for coming on the podcast, and thanks so much to you lot for listening. Now, the part of the podcast episode that I really want to focus on for this conclusion is about embracing the journey of failure and self-discovery by understanding that every misstep is a stepping stone to growth. Now, I know you're like, Jack, that's so general and broad. No, because probably right now you're beating yourself up for something that you think you should have done better. Maybe that's a job. Maybe that's, I don't know, how you spoke to your kids. Maybe it's about not learning something in 2024 that you feel like you should have learned to give you a head start in 2025. Well, I'm here to tell you that whatever missteps you took in 2024 or yesterday or even today are maybe just data points for you to learn from and improve from, and maybe it's going to help you grow in some way that you cannot yet see as an advantage to you. And Maria talks about this, whether it's working with family members or friends that she just thinks, oh, is this job ever going to end? But it's teaching her something. She talks about changing careers a lot and how she doesn't really look at these as massive failures. She looks at these as stepping stones for growth. And I just think how you frame your life determines how much you enjoy it and how much you get from it. You know, you might look at the weather outside and be like, oh, it's raining. It's so annoying. Or you might look at it and be like, okay, cool. Today, it's raining. It's cozy. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to make some hot chocolate. I'm going to make a roast and make myself feel really cozy, like a little hedgehog. You know, you can look at it however you want to look at it, and I just think that's important to say. So thanks for Maria coming on the podcast and sharing that little nugget with us. Boom! Next week we got Joe Moore. I'm super excited for that one. I'm going to drop it very quickly because we're wrapping up Webflail, people. It's sad times, but we're wrapping up Webflail. This is coming to the end of the Webflail journey. I've appreciated every single moment with you all. Thank you so much for joining us. But this is one of the last few episodes. Sad times. Loads of love. See you next week for Joe Moore.